हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu just called actually. He'll be a little late, like 15 minutes. And till the time, Prabhuji told to read some of the verses and just do some chanting. So we'll start with some of the Bhagavad Gita verses. And when His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu is there, he'll lead the lecture. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. So lead from Bhagavad Gita chapter 14. Sorry, chapter 9. We'll just read one verse. I'll see which was. Yeah, 14th, 9.14. This is chapter 9, verse 14, the most confidential knowledge. We'll recite the verse first and then read the translation and the meaning. Satitam kirtiyanto mam tam kirtiyanto mam yatan yasya dadvrta namasyantasya ma bhaktya nitya yukta upasate Satitam kirtiyanto mam yatantasya dadvrta namasyantasya ma bhaktya nitya yukta upasate Satitam kirtiyanto mam yatanyasya dadvrta namasyantasya ma bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. We'll read the word and meanings. Satitam, always. Kirtiyanta, the chanting. Mam, about me. Yadanta, fully endeavoring. Cha, also. Dadvartaha, with determination. Namasyantaha, offering obeisances. Cha, and mam, me. Bhaktya, in devotion. Nitya yuktaha, perpetually engaged. Upasate, worship. Translation by His Divine Grace, HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Purport. The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in the chanting the glories of the Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising His holy name, His eternal form, His transcendental qualities, His uncommon pastime. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, Mahatma is attached to the personality of Godhead. So I'll just discuss this first, and then we can take the next section. So here Krishna is telling the symptoms of Mahatma. Mahatma is the great soul. So Krishna is defining the symptom of the great soul is that one is engaged in chanting the name, form, pastimes, and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? Dadvarta means with determination. So, what is determination? How do you define determination? Is when we do a certain thing with full enthusiasm or with full faith, and we don't do it half-hearted. Means we put full efforts into it. That is called Dadvarta. And such devotees are offering obeisances, Namasyantasya Mabhatya, Nitya Yukta Upashata. They are always engaged in worshipping me with full faith. So how can we engage our senses in the service of the Lord? In Srimad Bhagavatam, in 9th canto, like there is example of Ambarish Maharaj, who has engaged all his senses into the service of the Lord. Although he was a king, and being a king has to oversee the affair of the kingdom. He has to make the rules, collect the taxes, and do so many things, many of the duties of the king. But he did all his duties while engaging his senses in the service of the Lord. So there is a verse that tells, Save mana Krishna padarevandyo, vachansa vakunte gunanuvandane, karor hader mandir marjanadishu, shutruim chakra chutta shatakatadiyo. Means he engaged his mind into meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. And his legs into going to temple of the Lord, hands into cleaning the temple of the Lord, eyes into seeing the deity form of the Lord, ears into hearing the glories of the Lord, and similarly all the senses. So in our situation where everyone in the Bay Area are working for office from 9 to 5 or sometimes 9 to 8. So how sometimes the question is asked, how can we be Krishna conscious even while doing our normal duties like studies or working and job? So Bhagavatam gives the example although the work can actually be a cause of the bondage, it can bind us in the material things. If we do good and bad, it can bound us in the temporary happiness or distress in this world. But the same work, when it is done as a sacrifice for the Lord, as a service to the Lord, when we connect it to the Lord, it can actually be the cause of liberation. Instead of cause of bondage, it can lead to liberation. Like in 3rd chapter, Krishna tells, Yagyartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Means the work has to be done as a sacrifice for the Lord, as an offering of service to the Lord. Otherwise, this work actually can cause the bondage. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So Krishna is giving the way of how we can continue to do our daily duties or prescribed duties, and at the same time be Krishna conscious by engaging our senses into service of the Lord. So instead of like eating food for just enjoying the food through our tongue, we can first offer to the Lord and partake the prasadam that is offered to the Lord. Similarly, while studying, we can do our studies as offering of service to the Lord, right? Whatever result come, we can offer to the deities. Like today, we're going to have a monthly Sankirtan festival offering. Whatever devotees has done in last few months, they're going to offer to the pleasure of the Srila Prabhupada and the deities. And by that offering, that work no longer remains material, but it become Krishnized or become transcendental. And that actually help us to purify our senses, because we are engaging our service in the service of the Lord, who is supremely pure. And it also helps to clean our heart or the mind. So one more verse we'll see where Krishna is emphasizing the same point about like how one should fix one's mind on the thoughts or meditate on the on Lord Krishna. So this is 12th chapter, verse number 8. So I'll read the translation. Please repeat after me. Mayeva man adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashyashyasi mayeva, ata urdhvam na shansaya, mayeva man adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashyashyasi mayeva, Ata urdham na shanshaya, mayeva man adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, niveshyasya mayeva, ata urdhvam na shanshaya. Translate, we'll read the word meaning. Mai, upon me. Eva, certainly. Mana, mind. Adhatsva, fix. Mai, upon me. Buddhim, intelligence. Niveshya, apply. Nivashyasya, you will live. Mai, in me. Eva, certainly. Ata urdhvam, thereafter. Na, never. Shanshaha, doubt. Translation: just fix our mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Yeah, in this book, the word is our, actually. In other translation, it is fix your mind. Krishna is speaking here, Sri Bhagavan Vach. Just fix your mind upon me, the Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. So this is the repeated theme in all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells one should actually fix one's mind and intelligence on the service of the Lord, or on the name, form, and the pastime of the Lord. In the preface, Srila Prabhupada writes, we work with our mind and intelligence, not just with our body or the senses. Because first, for any action to happen or any word to come, we have to conceive it in our mind. Right? Once we think about it, we come up with what we're going to say, or we plan in our mind, and then we execute through our senses. We do the things, or like if the building has to be constructed, first there has to be an architecture plan. Right? The first it has to conceive, it is put on the paper, and then one actually manifests it externally. So what we do with our body of the senses, first we think from our mind. So mind is a central unit from where our the senses are guided. So Krishna is recommending here, one should fix the mind upon himself, upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the purpose of coming to the temple. When we come into the temple and see the deity form of the temple and see the devotees who are engaged in the service of the Lord, that automatically help us to fix our mind on the form of the Lord, name and the form of the Lord. And Mai Buddhim Niveshya. So again, this is the subtle aspect of our existence. We have the gross body, which is made of the 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. And this is a subtle body, which is made up of mind, intelligence, and ego. So Krishna is telling this subtle existence, the mind, should be fixed on the form of the Lord, and the intelligence as well. What is the function of intelligence? Discriminating. Like our intelligence, the function of the mind is to thinking, feeling, and willing. We get the thoughts, we feel, in the sense sometimes we feel the cold or the heat or like that, the feeling comes in the mind. And the function of intelligence is to discriminate and determine. Like we see what is to be done, not to be done, what to be said, what not to be said, or what is the plan. So Krishna is telling, Mai Buddhim Niveshya. So what is the meaning of Buddhi Niveshya? Fixing our intelligence on the Lord. Means we utilize our intelligence into doing things which are favorable for our Krishna consciousness. Right? So we should discriminate between what is favorable for Krishna consciousness and what is not favorable, and decide to do things which are favorable. Srila Rupa Goswami tells that anukulyasa sankalpa partikulyasa varjanam. So anukulyasa means like those things which are favorable for our Krishna consciousness. We should actually accept those things, and we should reject anukulyasa sankalpa and partikulyasa varjanam. One should reject the things which are unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. So in act of instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami tells the things which are favorable and unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. So like to tell what are the 6 things which are favorable? Chanting. Yeah, especially in act of instruction there is like 6 things Krishna has told. Ramsundar, yeah. Association of devotees, that is one thing favorable. Utsaha Nishya Dhairyat Tattar Kam Parvartanat. Live in Mathura. That is live in the holy dham. So Rupa Goswami tells these are the 6 things which are favorable. One is Utsaha, second is Nishya, third is Dhairyat. So Usha, one should be enthusiastic. One should be enthusiastic in one's devotional service. One should chant with enthusiasm, not that like when we chanting holy names, so we are half asleep or go to sleep while chanting. So one should actually attentively chant the holy name. Similarly, whatever we do, like deity worship or reading Bhagavad Gita, we should be enthusiastic. One should not be half-hearted. So Utsaha, Nishyat means one should have determination. One should be determined while doing the things. And third is Dhairyat. Dhairyat means sometimes devotees, sometimes if some new person comes and chant for some day, and after 6 months, one says that I have been chanting 4 rounds for 6 months, I have not seen Krishna in front of me. So one has to actually wait for some time. One should be patient in execution of devotional service. And one should continue to put the right thing and wait for the result to come as Krishna is pleased. So Utsaha Nisha Dhairya Tat Kan Parvartanat means one should follow the rules and regulation of devotional service. And Sangas Tyago Sato Vritte. One should give up the association of non-devotees. So because depending on our association, what kind of association we have, we will be directed in that direction. Sangha Sanjayate Kama. It means like our desire are very much affected by what kind of association we keep. So when we keep association with, when we make friendship with devotees, so when we are having sometimes bad times and good times, so when we have good times, devotees will take us to the temple and celebrate Krishna consciousness, right? And when there is a bad time, devotees will tell to read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and come to Kirtan so that we get afflicted, right? So that is the effect of association, effect of devotees association that will be directed towards Krishna consciousness no matter what. And effect of materialistic association is that when the good things are happening, They will tell, let's go to movies and party, celebrate it, right? And when bad things are happening, they will go, let's go to movies, parties, because one has to come out of it. So depending on what association we keep, we actually are directed in a particular direction. So Rupa Goswami tells one should give up the association non-devotees and one should associate with devotees. That does not mean that one actually become judgmental, or we actually label people like this is non-devotee, I'll not go near to them. We go to them to give Krishna consciousness, but it's a one-way traffic. We don't take. Like in India, there is a kabaddi game sometimes, You touch them, they come back. And if you stay a long time, they will catch you inside. So one has to keep coming in association devotees regularly and get nourished, and at the same time, go outside to give Krishna consciousness to others, right? So these are the things which are favorable. There are 6 things which are not favorable for Krishna consciousness. Anukulyasya varjan, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjana. So what are the things which are not favorable? That also, yeah. Bad association, that is opposite, that is not favorable, that is right. Rupa Goswami tells, atyahara prayasasya prajalpo niyamagraha jan sangasya lolyam cha sadbir bhakti vinashyati. Means atyahara means too much or accumulating the material things, or too much eating, or sometimes too much reading the things which are not, in line of Krishna consciousness. So that is atyahara. Prayasasya means over endeavoring for materialistic things. Sometimes we want to get too many material things, so one may over endeavor to the extent that one neglects the basic sadhana of devotional service. So that is also called paryasasya. Atyahara, prayasasya. Parjalpo, what is parjalpo? Useless talks, mundane talks, right? If you see any materialistic people talking outside or even the companies, what are the talks related to? If we see, observe, all the talks, ultimately this culminates into eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Where is the share market going up and down? Or, what is the latest movies, or what is the party? These are the mostly, so enjoyment talks, mostly they talks about this. So these are called parjalpa. So, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami tells, when we engage into parjalpa, our determination actually flows out. Like, we cannot retain our determination when we engage into parjalpa. So one should utilize one's sense of, like, one's power of speaking to speak Krishna consciousness and ears into hearing about Krishna consciousness. So parjalpa, niyamagraha. What is niyamagraha? So there are 2 meaning of niyamagraha. One is neglecting rules or regulation, and second is over-emphasizing on rules or regulation to the extent that we neglect the purpose of these rules. Like in Krishna's pastime, one time when Krishna was there in the forest, he sent his cowherd friends to go to Brahmanas to take the food from them, like, because Krishna was there. And they were doing yagyas, but they didn't know, they were too much caught up in the details of the yagya, and they forgot why they are doing the yagya. Yagyas are done to please the Supreme Lord. So when the cowherd friends came and asked them to take, get the food, not only they didn't say yes or no, they fully neglected them. They didn't even acknowledge their existence. So they came back to Krishna and told, they didn't even look at us. So Krishna told, that is the nature of begging. When you go to beg, sometimes you get, sometimes you don't. You don't have to get too much disgraced. You go to Brahmana Patnis. So they are doing, they are more Krishna conscious because they used to hear from the people who used to come and sell the ghee and yogurt and so many things. They used to talk about Krishna consciousness. They used to talk how Krishna is there and how he's killing so many, demons and how beautiful he is. So just by hearing, they were meditating and they developed attachment to Krishna. They were much more Krishna conscious. And when they heard Krishna is nearby and he's hungry, they immediately took the food and went there and offered the food. So when they came back, Brahmanas told that although we are engaged into so many study of Vedic scripture and performing yagyas, but we could not understand the goal of these yagyas. But you who have not gone through so much rigorous studies and training and everything, but you achieved the supreme goal, so you are much, much better than us. So that is a niyamagraha, means neglecting rules or regulation, over-emphasizing the details and losing the essence. So the devotees of the Vaishnava is called sargrahi. Sargrahi means we should know the essence of what activities we're doing. So we in Krishna consciousness there's so many etiquettes and rules and regulation. So purpose of all these rules and regulation is to always remember Krishna and not forget Krishna, right? The verse in Vishnu Puran that tells that Smartavya Sattam Vishnu na Vismarta se jatuchit sarva vidhi nishedashu eteryo kinkara. So all the vidhi and nishedas, do's and don'ts, are subservient to one basic rule, that is, one should always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So I'll just read the purport of this and we'll conclude. His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu has already come, so we'll just conclude here. Purport. One who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live in the material plane, he lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna and his internal potency, are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables and the devotee becomes Krishnaized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so, although this is the process recommended in Bhagavad Gita and in other Vedic literatures. So this is the message of Krishna in many chapters where Krishna tells, actually fix your mind. This is 9th chapter, 12th chapter. Similarly, in more chapters, Krishna tells you should fix your mind. And if we cannot fix our mind fully, then that is the next verse that tells what one should do. So we'll read this. Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mai sthiram abhyas yogena tato Mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. Translation. My dear Arjuna, the winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So here Krishna is recommending, if it's not, we are not on the stage of the pure love where we cannot fix our mind, then one should actually follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga and develop a desire to attain Krishna. So what are the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga? Association of devotees, reading and hearing chanting the holy names, following for regulative principles. His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu ki jai. So we'll just, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Sorry to interrupt such a beautiful discourse so abruptly. Nice to see everyone. We had another program on the other side of town, and as usual, it went a little longer than we expected. Hare Krishna. First, I'll start with a prayer asking for mercy, empowerment from my spiritual teacher. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. How is everyone starting the new year? new beginnings. Hare Krishna. It seems to be a time of year when people everywhere think about their lives and starting over, maybe improving themselves. We find a steep increase in health clubs across the nation, which also steeply, well, not steeply, but gradually declines over time also. So there's a way in which people have good intentions. It's a natural. There's a inborn nature in every living person to want to find some kind of improvement. But of course, thank you. That's not always possible by oneself, because, as Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, there are restraints. Especially, he mentions the 3 modes of material nature, 3 modalities that condition one in this world. And they condition us because of our association with them. And there's a way in which, just by our association, we develop those qualities. And he describes 3 modes. There's the mode of tamas, which is darkness, or also described as inertia or ignorance. And then there's a mode of rajas, which is characterized by movement and intense desire. And sattvagun, which is characterized by light, virtue, and peace. Peace in the sense that when someone's situated in the mode of sattvagun, one feels satisfied in him or herself that there's a powerful realization that I exist and that I never die. So these 3 modes of material nature, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, pervade everything in this world. And then he says that whatever good or bad situation I find myself in this world is a result of my previous or current association with one of these 3 modes. Or there are many combinations of the modes also. There may be darkness mixed with passion, which is rajas, the middle mode I mentioned, or rajas mixed with goodness. And there are, as when you mix colors, many different combinations and permutations that you can get, as you see in now it used to be, we referred to the palette of an artist who can mix different colors, but now you can look on a Macintosh computer or somewhere, so you can see a myriad of colors. And so similarly, the modes mix in various ways in this world. But one thing's for certain, Krishna says that by Sangha, we are influenced by these modes of nature in various ways. So if anyone wonders, how did I end up where I am? The answer is by association. When I'm in proximity to the mode of ignorance or the passion or goodness, I begin to take on its qualities. And one can notice this for oneself. If we're a little bit careful and notice how I'm affected by different kinds of environments. For instance, things stick to us in this world. You might walk into a grocery store, for instance, and maybe they're playing a certain kind of music. And you might notice later on that you're humming the same tune. And where'd that come from? It stuck to me. I was in the grocery store and it stuck in my mind. I can't get it out. Advertisers know this too. Therefore, they'll put up signs everywhere and say, here, look at this. And then if they can get somebody to try something, we can get implicated in that also. Krishna says in the Gita that by contemplating certain objects, his senses have their objects. If you ever notice, like the stomach, it has a mind of its own. That's actually true. There's such a thing as called a gastric brain. Recent research has shown that there are millions of nerve endings in the gastric system, starting from the tongue all the way down to the end of the elimination system. And that's why we have gut feelings, because we actually feel in our gut. And also, I notice this a lot. My stomach knows what time it is. If I eat at a certain time every day and I'm 2 minutes past that, the stomach says, wait a minute, it's time to eat. Or on a fast day, when you fast all day, there's 2 times a month, many of us fast and just don't eat anything. And then, the stomach goes through its routines. Of course, if you're used to that, it knows it's fasting time also, but it does have a mind of its own. So the senses are attracted to various objects, and Krishna says this is another way that we become implicated, in that the senses contemplate an object. Each sense has an object that it can look at, and contemplate means that it's more than a casual glance, but it actually considers that this object is something that I could, take for myself. There's something in it for me. So Krishna says that by this kind of contemplation, that then one develops an attachment for that. And then you got a problem, because then you have to carry it around with you wherever you go, subtly or in a gross way too. It's like when people give you things sometimes. What do you do with it? Do you have a problem with that? This is a time of year you might think about clearing things out. But where'd you get all the stuff you have now? It just accumulates over time. Somebody hands you something, here, take this. You're stuck with it for a while. Some things you don't know, you can't throw them away. Anyway, I won't go into that in detail, but this world is a sticky place. There's ways, just by association with various modalities in this world, which generally come through different people. People have energies, and they have influence. And by associating with those various people, and we pick up their energies, the kind of energy that they have. And by allowing the senses free roam to contemplate various objects, we can become attached to those objects. So Krishna says, Dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangas teshu pajayate. So sangha means we develop an attachment to it, and then we have a connection to it. And then you got a problem. You have to deal with it. So we were reading on the way over here that Maharaj Prithu, who is an incarnation of Krishna, a Shaktivesh avatar, one of the kinds of incarnations that comes to the world to show people by example how to live. He was a king, and he had all facility for living in a nice way, but he dedicated all of the things that he had to God all the time. So although he lived in such an opulent setting, it wasn't a problem for him. And this is one of the great messages of the Bhagavad Gita, that if you internally cultivate knowledge that everything belongs to God, and that the kinds of things that come to me in this world are meant to be dedicated to Him, then they won't affect you. You won't be affected. And you also won't be affected by the 3 modes of material nature. And you also won't develop this sangha or attachment, this connection to things that weigh you down and complicate your life. And therefore Krishna gives this example in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyakva karotiyaha lipitena sapapena padma patram ivambasa. Such a beautiful eternal image of a lotus that is called, a lotus is Padmaja. Ja means to be born, and Padma means mud. It's born in the mud. But if like the lotus, which is born in the mud, lives in the water, one is unattached to the results of his work and dedicates them to the Supreme. Brahmanya daya karmani sangam tyakva karotiha. Whatever he gets, he doesn't keep it. He doesn't say, that's mine, but he offers it up to the Lord. He doesn't keep it. Then Krishna says, that person is like the lotus, which lives in the water but is never affected or touched by the water. So one doesn't become implicated if one lives like that. So that's one thing that is a principle Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita, that anyone can begin practicing at any time, because there are many opportunities for the false ego to appropriate whatever comes to one. Many material objects, and also there are positions that one may get. And if we practice giving those things to Krishna, we'll see that actually we don't lose anything. We actually are the gainer. We gain our inner life, inner happiness. On the other hand, whatever I try to keep is soon lost anyway. And in the meantime, it's a great source of trouble for me. I saw a documentary a long time ago about one of the wealthy men of America named Ted Turner. I think he lost a lot of his money because he made he's probably still very wealthy, wealthier than most people. But at one time, I think he was one of the wealthiest men in the world. Ted Turner, anybody heard of him? Yeah, Ted. So Ted had all this money, and he bought up a large piece of Montana, a really large piece. I mean, it was so large, he couldn't even purview the whole parcel of land he had with an airplane practically in one day. He had to fly over it and look out. And I remember seeing that and wondering, what's the difference? Whether you have a little piece of land, a little place to lie down. And I mean, as Prabhupada used to say, if you're a billionaire, you can still only have the capacity to eat 4 chapatis. What's the difference between that and a person who can only afford 4 chapatis every day? And you may have all kinds of land, and then you have to put a fence around it, and you have to worry about it. It's a problem for you. But you don't really own the land anyway. It's just a frame of mind that this is mine. But soon it will slip through your fingers, it will be taken away from you. Ultimately, Krishna says, Mrityu sarva harash chaham. I come as death and I take away everything. So, when one is inspired by spiritual intelligence, he or she may then decide that while I'm living in this world, why claim anything for myself? And why not offer it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? After all, He's the controller of all energies, and He's the origin of everything as well. And I'm His servant. This is real spiritual intelligence. And actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this solves all your problems. You'll have no more misery if you take this. Jiv Krishna Das, e Bishwash, Kole Tor or Dukho Nai. That if you simply accept this one principle that I'm the servant of Krishna, then you'll have no more misery. That's a pretty simple deal. Just take that one principle. So Krishna consciousness is a very simple process. And material life is very complicated, but for no good reason. There's no good reason to complicate one's life. And therefore, it's a kind of state of madness to live in this world and try to attach oneself artificially to circumstances and to things which we can't control anyway. What do you think so far?
All the above.
Huh? What's that?
All the above.
All of the above. If there was an all of the above square, you'll pick that one. So I really enjoy thinking about these basic principles, that with one switch, you can change your life. Like there's a verse in the beginning of the Sri Ishopanishad, and just the name of the book, Sri Ishopanishad. Sri means beautiful, opulent, and Isha refers to the controller, whom I'm not. This is one principle to accept. I'm not the controller. Doesn't that make you feel better? Yes. Someone comes up, you good? What about that? I'm not the controller. That solves a lot of problems right there. So Sri Ishopanishad is an Upanishad about Isha. And then one of the first verse past the invocation says that the Supreme Controller controls everything. And you don't. So take that and just meditate on it. We talked about this the other day. One of the principles I brought up from our goal-setting class, or maybe it was about balance, was something that the philosopher Stephen Covey had introduced, a simple diagram that showed two circles, one within the other, and the one on the inside circle shows circle of influence, and the bigger circle shows circle of concern. And I had so much feedback from people wherever I've given this seminar who said, that's what I keep remembering. Just stay within your circle of influence. And if someone brings you a difficult problem and says, deal with it or take this, that's outside my circle of influence. And if you go outside your circle of influence, which you're perfectly welcome to do, then you'll find yourself in the area of concern, a circle of concern that you can't do anything about except use energy for worry. I saw in a Buddhist book they just defined worry as, or emotion, as thought with energy. Thought combined with energy. And so there's lots of thought energy that comes through our consciousness all the time. And again, Krishna points out that there's a way of dealing with this in such a way that we don't become distracted by it. Another saying I saw was that distraction is the mother of discontent. So, in the Sri Upanishad, Isavashamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Everything animate. So first of all, let's consider all the animate things. Can someone name a few? Everything animate. What does animate mean?
Alive.
Is that what it means? Alive? Can somebody look it up really quick? I'd like to see the etymology of that. Everything animate and inanimate. That covers pretty much everything, right? This is good exercise because we can gloss over these verses and just say, yeah, I know that one. On a morning walk once, Prabhupada was asking about a verse, and one of the enthusiastic young devotees said, yeah, Prabhupada, I know that verse, and he recited the Bengali for it. And then Prabhupada turned and he said, do you know it eternally? Shraddha? What is it? You found it? Great. Let's hear about animate objects.
So animate means to give life or to make alive. God animated the dust. That's the example they're given. To make lively, vivacious or vigorous. To fill with courage or boldness. To move or stir to action. To give motion to. To prepare or produce an animated cartoon or animated children's story. And the origin is 1375 to 1425. Late Middle English comes from animal. Latin, animatus, filled with breath or air.
Aloha, that means the breath of God.
Breath of God.
In Hawaiian, so animate objects are those things that are living, breathing. God's given them life. They're part of the living energy of God, the superior energy. As Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, he gives two categories of, well, at least two categories of energies that we see in this world. First of all, who can name the energies that are what he calls separated or inferior energies? Just give me one of them. Yes. Balaram Chandra? Earth. Earth. Water. Fire. Air. Ether. Mind. Intelligence. And false ego. Okay, so these are the Krishna's separated material elements. Are those animate or inanimate? Animate or inanimate? Thank you. And then he says that besides these, aparayamitas tvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhuta mahabaho ya yedam darite jagat. He says besides these, there's an energy which is animate. And what is that?
Living entity.
It's a living entity. What is the living entity anyway?
Soul.
This question for $1 million. Let's ask Damodar if we have that in our treasury for the prize money tonight. What is a living entity anyway?
Soul.
Part and parcel of Krishna? What? Just consciousness? Just Krishna's consciousness? Well, one thing Krishna says about the living entity is some people describe him as amazing, some people hear him about amazing, some after studying him see him as amazing, some can't understand him at all. Ascharyavat pashyati kashyadenam ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyaha. Ascharyavat ainam shrinoti shrutvatyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. The living entity, that animate energy, is very difficult to understand. I mean, we can say so many things. It's consciousness, but what is consciousness? And what is the living entity? That's a great study, to discover the difference between the animate and the inanimate. And actually, I've been listening to Sataputta a lot lately. Those tapes I gave a lot of you, the recordings of Sataputta, did you listen to them? If you didn't get it, you should make more. Anybody who didn't get one, we make a list, and you should hear these. Sataputta was a genius, and he was also a great devotee at the same time. Unfortunately, he left this world before we could get more of its association. But he left behind him some of his teachings. He was a great scientist, but he was a devotee of Vaishnava at the same time. He's talking so much about the how modern science tries to discover what is consciousness, and most of them just say that it's they just discard the word itself because there's no way to describe it in physical terms. Through physics and through mathematical equations and so forth, one simply comes to a dead end trying to describe what is consciousness. Therefore, they try to explain it away or just say, we won't talk about it and so forth. That is an interesting subject matter. What is the conscious, animate, living entity? In any case, whether animate or inanimate, the verse says, Isavasam idam sarvam. Sarva means what? Everything. So all the animate or inanimate objects within the universe are controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for oneself, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Isn't that a powerful verse? One should accept only those things necessary for himself. Now let's have a discussion about that. What do you consider necessary for yourself, and why? Feel free. What do you consider necessary? Yes? Bhumi Mataji? Give her the microphone.
Food and shelter.
Food and shelter, okay. Necessary. Prashad, necessary. Association, you need a little socialization, association. Okay, so we have food, shelter, association. How about Hostess Twinkies? Ding dongs? No? Okay. Kanka? Air. Okay. You have to breathe, you have to live. We get the sense that there are certain things that seem natural that you have to take in, right? Certain things that are necessary. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. What might those be? You're smiling, Shraddha. What are you thinking?
Hansapriya Mataji also said air is important. So
Hansapriya said air.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of air myself. Air and water. I love water. Oh, so this is a meditation for the new year. What's necessary? What do I actually need? And what do I actually not need? That's another thing. How to winnow out the things from my purview and my life and the things that I'm responsible for, that I've taken artificial responsibility for, all kinds of things. Let's name a few things that you might have in one of your drawers at home that is not really necessary, but is just hanging around and it bugs you. Come on. Jewelry. Okay, let's get your address afterwards. And we'll take care of that. Okay. Plans to give it away, even more so. We'll go talk about that. Okay, Bhumi?
Bills.
Bills. That's an interesting approach. But that's bona fide in a way. It says in the Shastra, Devarshi bhutat nandrinam pitranam na kinkro nayandrani charajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritakartam. If you completely surrender to God, you don't owe anybody else. If you completely surrender to God. If you surrender to Mukunda, then He takes care of all your debts. That's a fact. That's a fact. Someone who actually, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam. So think about this. He says, if you don't have anything else to think about except me and my service, Ananyas chintayanto mam. Yejana pariyupasate. You just engage in worshiping me all day long. That's all you ever do. Tesham nityabdiyuktanam yogakshemam bahami. I will personally bring you your necessities. Personally. Vahami means I personally carry to you. And that's a fact. If someone completely surrenders. So bills, you could practically leave behind. But on a practical side, Vasudev Datta, who was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was engaged in so much charity giving and sacrifice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to ask one of his devotees to go look after him and make sure that he paid his bills. Because he said, you know, he's a householder, he's going to get into trouble if he doesn't balance a little bit. So interesting there. What other things are not necessities? Bali.
So necessity is, I think, a subjective term, because as our level of consciousness goes up and down, the necessity can go up and down. For example, Parshuram, when he was fighting, and he said that, where is your residence? He said, earth is my shelter, the sky is, I bow down to him, he's my father. So it depends on where you renunciate. Then if you are in advanced modern civilization, people say TV is a necessity. Without television, we cannot move. If you ask the kids, they will say video game is a necessity, you know. So those are the things which has been adding for us. But cut off everything, and if you see that food and shelter, Mataji said, that is the necessity to maintain our body. Beyond that, which are just a contamination, addition day by day.
Yeah, and also, that's a really nice point that you brought in, Bali Prabhu, because in the verse itself, Tena Tyaktena Punjita, in this verse from the Sri Upanishad, means that which is set aside as one's quota. Did we include that in the English translation? Everything animate or inanimate within the universe is controlled by and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. So every living being has a quota, in as much as there are innate necessities that every living being has because of the nature of the body. And Krishna is supplying those to each living entity. And so there's a sliding scale. And even in human life, certain kinds of duties that one has will necessitate more or less necessity in life. However, this is a good place to concentrate one's energy. What is actually necessary for myself? And what are the things that are not necessary? And then also consider that Krishna is the controller of all the energies, whether they're animate or inanimate. Shalabahu Prabhu.
Maharaj, my thought is that our expectation is also part of our necessities. So if we expect in a higher level, it is also Krishna provided, because he is also the person is known as opulence, holding the opulence. Therefore, our
what?
The opulence.
Opulence.
Opulence. So our expectation, whatever it is the one providing. But I really think we shouldn't limit ourselves just for the water or the air, because once you are doing the Krishna consciousness service, that he will provide the greater things. So we have to see always to the the overflowing opulence coming to our way.
Yeah, and I like the word you used, expectation, because we also have to manage our expectations. And Krishna mentions in the Gita that yadrishcha labhasantushto, one should learn to manage one's life so that you can be satisfied with things that come of their own accord. Yadrishcha means they come naturally, and you don't have to try so hard for them. Yadrishcha labha, gain which comes naturally. Santushto, you feel satisfied with that. And if you overextend your expectation for this world, first of all, you'll be disappointed because you don't always get what you want. And also, Krishna mentions in the second chapter of the Gita that there's a way in which we chase after desires, and he calls it a kama-kami. We get absorbed in chasing after desires that leave us out of balance. And therefore he recommends that one be like the ocean, that although the ocean is being filled constantly with many different kinds of rivers coming from all different directions, it doesn't change its level. So similarly, all these desires are rushing into our mental system, into the mind, but one should learn not to chase after them and should be steady, even though they're entering within the bay of one's mind, or the ocean of one's mind and heart. Yes, Vital Prabhu.
Prabhu, is there some quick guide to know, to distinguish between genuine endeavor and over endeavor? Anything to help us distinguish that this is my necessity or this is something extra I am doing? Because the mind is so tricky that I might be endeavoring for something all the while justifying that that is my necessity. So,
well, first one should discern what is one's duty. What are you supposed to be doing in your life? And that means that you have to accept some authority and some goal. Without an authority and some goal, then you may change your expectations all the time, and you may over-endeavor for things. I mean, endeavoring for something which is not in alignment with your goal is over-endeavoring. Endeavoring at all is not a good use of one's time. So find out what is the goal of life and what is your duty in attaining it. And then as you're pursuing the right goal, practically it's very difficult to over-endeavor. Because if you're in alignment properly, going in the right direction, then the tendency to do things which are superfluous, which really it's what constitutes over-endeavor, doing things that are not necessary and not aligned with your goal. Is Malini and SKP here? We're counting down the moments, actually. I'm just here as I'm supposed to warm up the audience. And because the main attraction of the night, and welcome everybody. It's so nice to see you here in the new year. Hare Krishna. To all of you, Hare Krishna. We're lucky. We're really lucky because we have Friends. We all have friends. This is what devotees are meant to do. This is a good occupation. Just make friends with devotees as much as possible. And this is what the Shastra says. This is what a devotee does. Goes around and makes friends with other devotees, appropriately. Some devotees one can recognize are in a higher position, and therefore one should think of appropriate ways to serve those devotees. Some devotees are one's peers on the same level, and one should make tight friendships. And some devotees may be at a lesser level, beginning level compared to oneself, and one should give mercy to those devotees. But that's all the occupation of devotees. And so we're lucky because we have lots and lots of opportunity for that. We'll never come to the end of it, actually. And it's pleasing to Krishna when devotees avail themselves to other devotees. Did we find out if SKP or Malini are here? As I was saying, today is the day when we're going to make an offering of the results of our Sankirtan, not just for the last couple of months, what we call the marathon, when devotees were intensely absorbed in distributing books all over the Bay Area, but for the whole year. We have a composite look at how we did this year, as we had certain goals we were shooting for. And Malini and Srivas have been working to, along with other devotees, have been working to tabulate all the scores. By the way, we did about 20 books at San Francisco State University. It should go on the list. What's that? They're on their way? When will they be here? Oh, okay. They'll be here at 6 o'clock. And then we're going to... Okay, we'll have the offering at 6. More questions or reflections? A reflection means one thing you heard so far in the discussion that stuck in your mind. It was an aha moment, and you figured you could use this later in the day. Yes?
Hansapriya Mataji sent me the list of things in her drawers.
Hansapriya Mataji very bravely sent her a list of things in her drawers. Drawers tend to be the repository of many... Well, we don't have a category for them, so you just throw them in the drawer, right? Does anybody have a drawer like that in your house? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it, eh? Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay. Let's hear some of the things that are in Hansapriya's drawers. Does anyone want to hear what she has? Yes or yes? Okay, let's hear.
It looks so familiar.
Okay.
Extra purses.
15 minutes. Okay. Thank you.
Extra purses.
Extra purses.
Extra shoes.
Extra shoes.
Extra clothes.
Extra clothes.
And electronic gadgets.
And electronic gadgets. Yeah, sounds really familiar.
I will add cosmetics to it.
Cosmetics.
It's my drawer.
And Shraddha Mataji is adding cosmetics. Yeah, clothes are a conundrum. They're produced mostly in Bangladesh, where people are paid pennies every hour, and then they're shipped to America and other European countries, where they sell a shirt that was made for maybe 10 cents or something like that for $80, sometimes $200. People wear it once, if at all, maybe sometimes a couple times, and then where do they put it? Most people give it to the Goodwill. The Goodwill cannot handle all of the... They can't resell fast enough all the things, all the clothes that they get. I'm just talking about clothes right now because Hansapriya brought up clothes. I'm just telling you an inside secret about the garment business. I happen to know something about it. Don't ask me how. Those extra clothes that come to the Goodwill that they can't sell, and there are tons and tons of them that were produced by cheap labor in another country, shipped to this country, given away after somebody spent $100 on a shirt. Then what do? They bundle them together. You know, like how sometimes hay is bundled together if you look out in the field, and it's compressed and then it's tied together in bundles. Those bundles are put on ships, barges, and you know where they go? Back to Bangladesh. And they resell them to the population there, the ones that were unused, given away. This is something Prabhupada talks about in the Nectar of Instruction, when there's Rupa Goswami warns about over-collecting, which he calls atyahara. So there's a way in which society is over-collecting. In fact, there's some video, a little video clip, I think it went viral, the story of stuff. Anybody see that? No? It's fantastic. Who saw it? Yeah, you saw the story of stuff? Can you summarize it at all? Would you? Too long ago. It shows how you can summarize it. Yeah, give him the microphone. He'll summarize the story of stuff, and then you can all look at it when you go home. The story of stuff. Go ahead and give us a little summary. Can you do it to a tune or a rap or anything like that?
Even, so basically what I remember, Prabhu, is, as you said, the clothes, basically all the things. So the video starts with how in 1960, I think some research scientists and psychologists, or the economists, they wanted to actually bump up the economic growth. So they came up with this idea that our mantra is economic growth, and we will somehow make people buy all the stuff, and we will, and that's the way we will churn the economy. And after that, the video goes about talking about the TV and the advertisements that plays along, and how having the many different things will make people cool. And when people see and watch all those things, they get bored, and to excite themselves, they go and buy out all those stuff. And then it goes on into a vicious cycle where, for this consumption, so many other parts of the planet is actually literally exploited. And then finally, when we, use it once or twice or junk it, it's taken back to the other parts of the world and then dumped, and toxic waste is created like that. So yeah.
That's a good summary. You can watch it for yourself. It's an animated drawing that takes you through the cycle, which is very commonsensical, and it shows you actually what happens to things. So far, I've been a little philosophical, and then I've been a little negative. So now let me talk about some positive things. Positive things. One word I really like is tonic. Can you look up the word tonic? Tonic. It just sounds good to me, tonic. Certain things you can take every day that enhance your health, your well-being. It's a tonic. Wouldn't you like to have a tonic? Yes? Yes. Bhumi would like a tonic. Yes? Let's give her the microphone, the other microphone. Shraddha, you hold that one.
It's kind of the antidote to toxic.
Nice. Say more about that.
Well, toxic means like poisonous. And a tonic, if you take poison, obviously, it's going to make you unhealthy and kill you, ultimately. Whereas a tonic is going to make you healthy and vibrant. So it's kind of, I would say, the antidote.
Nice. That's very practical.
Right. Thank
really
you.
Practical. Now, Shraddha, give us the definition, please.
Yes, Maharaj. So as a noun, tonic is a medicine that invigorates or strengthens.
A medicine that invigorates or strengthens. Okay?
to anything invigorating physically, mentally, or morally. Then in music, it's the first degree of the scale, the keynote. In Eastern New England, it goes as soda pop. And as an adjective, it's used as pertaining to, maintaining, increasing, or restoring the tone or health of the body or an organ as a medicine.
Or the soul. And that's what we want to talk about. The tonic for the soul. So, not only are there ways in which, well, the toxic part, Bhumi brought this up, I may take on things that cause me problems and cause me grief. So Krishna gives us a list of these things, just in principle. There are many unnecessary things that I may take on either mentally or physically that aren't good for me or aren't necessary, and they slow me down. And there are tonics that one can take that actually purify one of unwanted things, of ignorance, of lethargy, and so forth, and restore one's original spiritual health. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that the perfect tonic is the repetition or chanting or singing of God's names. And he said that the name of God and God himself are not different. There's no difference between the two because Krishna or God is absolute. And his name, therefore, is the same as himself. And that's profound. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in one of his poems, said that all the same energies that God has are there within his name. Think about that for about 10 seconds, and then I'll move on. And he said that by taking the tonic, and the way you take it is to repeat God's names, and the mantra, which is particularly recommended in this age, which is a Vedic mantra that comes from the Upanishads, is called the Hare Krishna mantra, or the Maha mantra, great mantra, not just for deliverance, but which actually cleanses the mirror of the heart. It extinguishes the fire of birth and death and all the suffering of the material world. It infuses one with transcendental knowledge. It gives one victory in life. And so this mantra is called the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and I'll say it 2 syllables at a time, and then you can repeat, and then we'll know what the mantra is. Are you ready?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
It's a simple mantra, but within the mantra is all the power and influence of God. And that is not something you have to take on faith. That is a scientific statement because you can test it yourself. It's recommended you try testing it by saying it to yourself. In fact, there's an ancient process of meditation in which monks and other kind of devotees will use like a rosary or a string of beads. So aesthetically, this is very pleasing. You can sit down by yourself with a string of beads and no one can stop you. Even if you're in prison for some reason, you can take a little part of the bed sheet and you can turn it into little knots. Not that I know anything about that. Or you can count on your hands if you have to. But to yourself, say the name, this mantra, and listen to it and feel the energy of the mantra. And if you open your heart to this in a humble way, in a searching way, with inquiry in your heart, then the mantra or God himself will reveal himself. That's the promise. That's the advertisement that's being given. So anybody can try it, and it's free. So and then the other way to do it, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced, is to sing it. And if you get together with a few friends and you get a few instruments, and you start chanting the mantra, you'll find that you can go on for hours and hours and hours without stopping, because there's just something about it that's so exotic that it's mystifying, actually. And if you go outside and chant it, for instance, today we went out into the neighborhood. We were at Mayapur Vihari's house, and he said, let's go out in the neighborhood and walk around and chant the mantra. And I watched somebody was looking for, the suburbs are a funny place because you're never sure if anybody actually lives there or not, because you never see people or animals, you just see little houses. But I watched somebody, they were looking through their blinds out, like, as we were coming by, and then all of a sudden, as we came near, the blinds shut. And I thought like a little animal or something, like, But the mantra is so mystifying that if you chant it outside, and this is an experiment anybody can try, on your lunch hour, just go outside and you can just clap your hands and chant the mantra and let other people hear it. And if you get a group of people together that are, that have a little rhythm, that's powerful also, and you chant the mantra, then when people walk by, they go crazy. They can't help themselves. I saw in Toronto a couple of years ago, one thing that really struck me. It was near a campus we were chanting, and one young woman came out and she started dancing. It was I'll show you the dance if you'd like. You want to see it? Okay. You sing the mantra and I'll show you a few steps in the dance she was doing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna. And I was thinking, how did she know to do that? And I came back an hour later, and she was still doing it in a trance. And when people hear the mantra, they just have this instinctive way of feeling, this is exotic, this is wonderful. It's all opulent. It has its own power. So if someone experiments with this at home, this is spiritual experimentation, take it home, go in the closet and shut the door. And shut off everything else and just try to listen to the mantra and be with the mantra. Just take the claim that's being given in these Upanishads. You can tell your mind it's probably true. It's been passed down for so many generations with so much endorsement by these really big personalities, spiritual giants who have said the same thing. Yes, this is it. This really works. It's true. It's corroborated. So try it yourself. And then you can experience something which is not like anything else in this world, that is beyond the animate, inanimate. You can come in touch with Ishvar, and you get a satisfaction that leaves you searching for more, making you want to go deeper into the subject matter, and there's no end to it. And that's what spiritual life really is. It's becoming this, on a quest to go deeper and deeper into this, what we call an ocean of nectarine, or the Anandam Buddhivardhanam, and leaving behind the ordinary and the predictable of this world. Everything in this world is predictable because it's all controlled by the modes of material nature. It's mechanical. But when you go into the realm of the purely spiritual, then everything, all bets are off. So I've done my solemn duty to keep the vibration going until the main act comes. I'm just getting the sign we have 2 minutes. So we're going to try the group chanting of Hare Krishna until our Sankirtan leaders come. And then we're going to all stand up, put away all the books, and we're going to offer to Srila Prabhupada. And Nirkula, maybe you want to take Prabhupada's hat and chadar and everything like that, get him ready for the offering. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We only have 2 minutes. You got to really get into it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanande, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. we'll pick up all the books and book stands as efficiently and quickly and respectfully as possible. We'll take them to the bookshelf and put away all the asanas. And then we're going to gather in an arc right around Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasana, which is situated at the back wall here. And then Malini Devidasi is going to read the offering on behalf of all the devotees here at ISKCON Silicon Valley. ISKCON Silicon Valley stands for ISKCON Silicon Valley. It also stands for, ISV stands for Individual, Spontaneous, and Voluntary. Thank you very much. Go Premanande Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Yes, yeah. So this is an experiment in movement here. We're going to come in as close as we can because proximity is important. Feel the energy here for this offering. A couple things are important. One thing's proximity. The other thing is quietude. it's difficult, isn't it? We wanted to have it as quiet as possible for the offering, because it's a reverential offering. And the third thing is we also need to leave an aisle down here so Prabhupada can see the deities. This is the aisle. Right here. We have a couple of heavies that are going to keep the aisle open. And then extra drumming will be heavily penalized. All right. Now we turn it over to our co-Sankirtan leader, Malini Devi Dasi, who will read the offering to Prabhupada. But first, complete quiet.
Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to you. We are gathered here on the most auspicious occasion to offer the results of our monthly Sankirtan festival, MSF of Miracle on Latham Street, which was held over last 3 months here at ISV. It is a miracle how the planets stay in the orbit. It's a miracle how the ocean does not cross the bank, and it is also a miracle that we have air to breathe every moment. Similarly, it is a miracle how we moved from a small storefront on New Jersey Avenue to this beautiful place on Latham Street. It is also a miracle how we are making our very first December marathon offering here at Latham Street. It is a miracle how souls come to Krishna consciousness just by receiving a book. In one of your conversations, you mentioned that Krishna is the highest miracle man. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3:5-42, Yachradhaya Shrutavatya cha bhaktya samrajyamane hridaye vadhaya jnanena vairagyena balena dhira vrajema tattengri saroja pitham. Simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge, and on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet. In the purport of the verse, you mentioned that the miracles of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord with eagerness and devotion are so great that no other process can compare to it. Taking your instructions, we started upon a seemingly impossible task for this marathon, but with full faith that by the grace of a bona fide spiritual master, even that which is impossible becomes possible. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. By the mercy of Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross the mountains. As advised by Lord Brahma, one should remember this Shastric injunction if one desires success in his life. Taking this instruction, we set the goals for this MSF. We had only one goal for this MSF, which was to distribute at least 19,065 Bhagavad Gitas. To realize that goal, Team ISV distributed Bhagavad Gitas, Srimad Bhagavatam sets at different venues and publicly chanted the holy names. The miracles of this MSF are: Vedic Academy School students are back with the 10% of goal. They went door to door in festivals and distributed thousands of Bhagavad Gitas this year. Corporate America team consisting of Shraddha Mataji and Mukharavinda Prabhu had a huge success again this year, collecting close to $20,000 by themselves. A huge donation of 20,000 was made by Ramananda Sakha Prabhu to dispatch over 5,000 books for Motel Gita. Many devotees came forward and made generous donations and sponsorships to place Bhagavad Gitas in different locations. Motel Gita team headed by Mayapur Bihari Prabhu dispatched 16,653 Bhagavad Gitas for this marathon. Core Sankirtan team consisting of dedicated devotees went out for book distribution every single weekend until we met the goal. For the very first time, Bhagavad Gita was read in corporate offices like Apple, SAP and Cisco on Gita Jayanti. A well-organized fire yajna for Bhagavad Gita was conducted at the temple, which attracted many new people. For the very first time, Bhagavad Gitas were placed in airport chapels as part of the Chapel Gita headed by Nikhil Prabhu. Hundreds of Bhagavad Gitas were distributed at Western festivals like Pumpkin Festival, Green Festival, Haight-Ashbury and Santa Cruz. Huge amounts of books and Lakshmi was collected at Diwali festivals in different locations. Bhagavad Gitas were placed in prisons. Hospital Sankirtan team placed 191 Bhagavad Gitas in hospitals. Traveling Sankirtan party also distributed books in Utah and Southern California. Books were distributed at Diwali festivals, dance concerts, Annakut festivals, corporate offices, Indian stores, and many other places. For the very first time, we have a e-hundi at the temple to make payments. Team ISV conducted a big Harinam on day after Thanksgiving and distributed Bhagavad Gitas. Live broadcast team made many improvements and now we have 2 screens to broadcast the programs at the temple. Soup Prasadam was distributed at festivals which attracted lots of people to get books. In addition to this, college preaching program also collaborated with other organizations in Bay areas like Sunnyvale Hindu Temple, Silicon Andhra to conduct the complete yoga program at their locations. They also completed the second module of the complete yoga package. In corporate circle, weekly Bhagavad Gita studies have been conducted at Intel, Cisco, Apple, and Google, along with special Gita Jayanti session. Online publicity team came up with a mystery wall consisting of 800 cases of Bhagavad Gita. And today, we are pleased to report that we are ready to unveil the mystery wall, and which will be unveiled now for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. As we make this offering of the MSF results, we are pleased to report that all the goals had been successfully met, surpassed, and smashed. In all, more than 75 devotees participated in book distribution. Team ISV distributed 27,376 books this marathon. Which includes 22,411 Bhagavad Gitas, surpassing the goal of 19,065 Bhagavad Gitas for this marathon. The kids team goal was to do 10% of that goal, which is 1,965, and they distributed 2,363 Bhagavad Gitas. And they collected $11,203 to Lakshmi. With respect to Lakshmi, Team ISV raised $105,771 in Lakshmi points. surpassing the previous year total for this marathon of $87,000. And the Mystery Wall sponsorships alone was in a total of $86,325. And Team ISV also paid $132,000 to BBT, which includes a 20% increase from last year. We thank all the participating devotees, donors, our Sankirtan leaders who contributed to this MSF. And we have a special thank you for all the donors who have donated for this MSF. We will be reading the names of all the donors to the deities during the Artik ceremony. We would like to express our deepest gratitude to our beloved temple president, HG Vaisesika Prabhu. Who is the storehouse of ideas, who inspired us to tax our brains, who encouraged and guided us at every moment and showed us how to please you. We are indebted to Vaisesika Prabhu and hope that we will be his faithful servants someday. Today we pray at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, to Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, to Shri Shri Lakshmi Narsinghadev, to continue to shower their blessings on Team ISV. MSF of Miracle of Latham Street ki! Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki! Shriman Mahaprabhu ki! Shri Shri Lakshmi Narsinghadev ki! Srila Prabhupada ki! His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu ki! All glories to assembled devotees.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatarishatarine. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandera Rutiko Shobha. Janavi Tatavane Jagamana Loba Jagajana Mana Loba Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotiko Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotiko Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Dake Nitai Chan Bamiga Dadhara Nikate Advaita Shrini Vaschatradara Dake Nitai Chan Bamega Dadhara Bose Ache Gaura Chan Ratna Singhasane Arati Kore Na Brahma Adi Deva Gane Nara Hari Hari Kori Chamara Tulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshari Gaya Nara Hari Hari Kori Chamara Dulaya Shankha baje, Ganta baje, baje Karatala. Madhura mridanga baje, Paramarasala. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Shankha baje, Ganta baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Shankha baje, Ganta baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Hey, madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Hari bol, hari bol, hari bol, Nitai Gaur, hari bol. Nitai Gaur, hari bol, hari bol, hari bol, Nitai Gaur, hari bol. Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujwala Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujwala. Oh. Galadeshe Vanamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shukanarada Premi Gada Gada Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaurada Sampada Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaurada Sampada Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. 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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Nita Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gaur Hari Bol. Nita Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Shri Nam Sankirtan ki, Shri Nam Mantra ki, Go Premanande. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privraj Gacharya Stotaras Shishiman Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privraj Gacharya Stotaras Shishiman Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki. Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnavinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Sri Vrindavan Tham Ki Sri Mayapur Navadip Tham Ki Sri Jagannath Puri Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Go Premanande Haribo. Today we have special dedication, prayer to Lord Nrsingadev. It's on behalf of the grandmother of Vatsal, of Nalisha and Vatsal. Are you here tonight? They're on their way. Okay, so they can tune in. We are offering condolences. Vatsal Prabhu's grandmother passed away just hours ago. Her name was Saraswati. And we want to make a special prayer to the lotus feet of Lord Nrsingadev tonight, asking that he be especially merciful to Saraswati, give her protection, bring her back to his lotus feet. Thank you very much for considering our request. Hare Krishna. Who's our designated kids singer tonight? Okay. She can do it? Okay, come on. But who's going to dance then? That's a conundrum, eh? All right, come on.
Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Daine Hiranyakashi Puraka Yeto yeto ya mitato nasemo Bahir nasemo hidaye nasemo Narasimha madim sharanam prapade Sabakara kamalabade naka asukashinga Dalita hiranyakashipu Talabrenga Keshavadita narahari rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Sabare Nakam Adbhuta Shringa Hiranyakashipu Danubringa Keshavadisha Keshavadrita Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nasimhadev Nasimhadev Jaya Nasimhadev Jaya Nasimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya 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 Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Deta Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Deta Gaura Hari Bol Anything Hare Bhagavan ki Koi Premanande Hari
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We welcome everyone to the first Sunday Feast program of 2014 to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. ISKCON stands for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's a worldwide movement for spreading the Sankirtan festival of Lord Chaitanya. Everyone here is a volunteer. We are all individual volunteers, and we spontaneously come together in the service and glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. We are following this movement in disciplic succession, getting orders and instructions from our spiritual teachers, and continuing this tradition of systematic glorification and chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna, which is the prescribed process for spiritual purification in this age of Kali. From my own personal experience, I can tell you that there's a very well-knit family, and we all come together to serve the Lord in various capacities. And this service that we come together and serve the Lord in a nice way is actually the greatest satisfaction that one can have in this life. The human form of life is very rare, and in the short amount of time that we have, if we come together and serve the Lord in our own individual capacity and serve the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, then all our heart's desires will come fulfilled, and we'll also reach the supreme perfection of life. So in this new year 2014, we invite everybody to come join our family, be a part, and participate with us in all our activities. And you'll see for yourself, you'll taste for yourself the spiritual joy that one gets by serving in a well-knit family like here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Hare Krishna. Before I make a few other quick announcements, Shri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu is going to show a small video which will highlight the main events that occurred during our...
made to show.
Somebody else has a microphone, it seems. We'll show the main highlights of our recently concluded monthly Sankirtan festival of Miracle on Latham Street.
Shri Guru Shri Gita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisesika Shri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Sri Vishakhantam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta
And I know that your guru.
San Mateo? It's on the peninsula.
South of San Mateo. Near airport.
I'm about to teach him a mantra. You've heard of meditation? I'll just say it one time. Ready? Ready?
Great mantra.
Okay, here we go. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's not clean, just wash it. It's clean.
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Chaitanya
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande. So apparently that was the trailer. The feature film is coming your way soon.
Hare Krishna. But you all got a glimpse of the main activity that we are engaged here in at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Not only do we practice in our personal lives the chanting of the holy names of the Lord and regular sound vibration of transcendental literature, but we take the same message out everywhere in the Bay Area and beyond, so that people everywhere can greatly benefit from this movement. And this is actually, participating in this movement, as I said before, is the greatest joy. So if you haven't experienced it yet, please do so in 2014, and I'm sure you'll like it very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Do we have newcomers to the temple today? Those who are coming for the first time, can you please raise your hands? We do have few gentlemen. Hare Krishna. Hope you like the program. Thank you. So please come again, and if you have any questions, if you'd like to give us any feedback, please do not hesitate to talk to any of the volunteers here. And I have could you introduce?
Yeah, I'm a guest introducing a guest, but I'd like to introduce my god sister Denise Devidasi, who is coming for the first time. And Denise is a big book distributor. She gave her heart and life to Srila Prabhupada distributing his books. Starting in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Thank you. Gita Priya schoolmate is also here. Let's give her a round of applause. Hare Krishna. We have a sponsor tonight for tonight's feast. It's Aishwarya Mataji's birthday, and Vijay Prabhu and Aishwarya Mataji are sponsoring the feast tonight. Are they here? Probably not. Okay, but nevertheless, we'll wish them the very best on this auspicious occasion. We'll all chant the Hare Krishna mantra once for them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The beginning of the new year also marks a new beginning for the Vedic Academy program here at ISV. We have a very nice program for educating children of all ages in various techniques of spiritual cultivation and also transcendental knowledge. So if you'd like to enroll, we see a lot of kids here today. So if you'd like to enroll your children to the Vedic Academy programs, please after the program talk to Vishakhalila Mataji, who is over there raising her hand. So if you'd like to enroll your children or if you have any questions, please talk to Mataji and she can help you in all respects. Tonight's Prasadam feast was cooked by Hari Sankirtan Prabhu and Neelam Mataji and also by Ananda Vrindavan Mataji. Thank you very much. Next we'll have Prasadam, and after that we'll have an activity for cleaning the temple, the kitchen and the temple hall. If any of you would like to volunteer to help us clean the temple, please come and see me after the program. Now we'll all sing Prasadam prayers together and we'll take Prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Jare Radvaja Jodendriya Tahika Jibe Pele Vishaya Shagare Karma Jedivayati Lobamoi Sudhumati Taki Chita Patita Sangsare Krishna Borda Doyamoy Kori Bhare Jiva Jai Saprasa Anadilo Bhai Sayanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nita Paire Ekadina Shanti Pure Prabhu Advaitera Ghare Dui Prabhu Bojane Bosilo Shakori Ashwadana Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana Esha Krishna Ashwadilo Eno Shakhashwadane Krishna Prema Aishe Mane She Preme Koro Ashwadan Jarabhuri Parihari Prasada Bhojana Kori Hari Hari Bolo Sarvajan Hari Hari Bolo Sarvajan Mahaprasade Govind Dhamma Brahmani Vaishnav Gapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvaso Navajai Bhuri Paryavatishtate Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasade Ki Go Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone. Prasadam will be served just outside. And there's plenty of room inside, so please come and make yourselves at home. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.